Starting from the binary number 1, we have created billions of bits of data that is powering the world. Coding has opened up a whole new world. In the large AI model era, a sea of data is shaping and fueling industries and redefining our roles in the world. Intelligent programming goes beyond traditional coding. It unleashes creativity and breaks down complex problems into simple code. The boundary between the physical and virtual worlds is becoming increasingly blurred. The ability to capture the finest of details in stunning ultra-high definition is revolutionizing the film and television industry. The genetic code has been converted into data, and we can use it as both a sword and a shield against disease. China's 7-minute genome sequencing process marks the start of a new chapter in medical treatments. Data is the cornerstone of the large AI model era. The next-gen AI beings in this era will help us adapt to changes in a wider range of scenarios. Data determines how successful AI will be. Huawei Storage takes a data-centric approach and is working to help reshape industries.
高43动拐次下升线，广州。
您刚才疼痛的部位在哪里？你用手指给我看一下。
这个位置。
你把手放到仪器上，我们会把对应的数据监测传给刀的颞口。
Electrocardiograma que tiene una arritmia leve.
老先生，您要记得定时复诊。
Recorded information is essentially the story of civilization. At every turn, new storage methods have led to new human progress. From using the natural world to processed materials, humans have recorded, stored, and passed on information through increasingly accessible ways. As the transmission of information is advancing rapidly, we aim to create the new media paradigm to make infinite storage a reality. From complex storage to concise solutions, storing ever-changing data is as easy as zeros and ones. From diverse storage to converged solutions, next-gen media is driving the optimal solution for every situation. From transformative storage to disruptive solutions, trillions of bytes can be processed in a flash. Cutting-edge technology helps us keep pace in our digital world, hosting and sharing information with unlimited capacity. Driven by storage innovation, let's explore the future of new digital models, momentum, and business forms, and usher in a better economic society for all. Let's unleash the full potential of data and shape the future of industries. Starting from the binary number 1, we have created billions of bits of data that is powering the world. Coding has opened up a whole new world. In the large AI model era, a sea of data is shaping and fueling industries and redefining our roles in the world. Intelligent programming goes beyond traditional coding. It unleashes creativity and breaks down complex problems into simple code. The boundary between the physical and virtual worlds is becoming increasingly blurred. The ability to capture the finest of details in stunning ultra-high definition is revolutionizing the film and television industry. The genetic code has been converted into data, and we can use it as both a sword and a shield against disease. China's 7-minute genome sequencing process marks the start of a new chapter in medical treatments. Data is the cornerstone of the large AI model era. The next-gen AI beings in this era will help us adapt to changes in a wider range of scenarios. Data determines how successful AI will be. Huawei Storage takes a data-centric approach and is working to help reshape industries.
雨量达到警戒值，高43动拐次下升线，广州至上。
部位在哪里？你用手指给我看一下。
这个位置。
你把手放到仪器上，我们会把对应的数据监测传给刀的颞口。
Elettrocardiogramma che tiene un'arritmia leve.
老先生，你要记得定时复诊。
Recorded information is essentially the story of civilization. At every turn, new storage methods have led to new human progress. From using the natural world to processed materials, humans have recorded, stored, and passed on information through increasingly accessible ways. As the transmission of information is advancing rapidly, we aim to create the new media paradigm to make infinite storage a reality. From complex storage to concise solutions, storing ever-changing data is as easy as zeros and ones. From diverse storage to converged solutions, next-gen media is driving the optimal solution for every situation. From transformative storage to disruptive solutions, trillions of bytes can be processed in a flash. Cutting-edge technology helps us keep pace in our digital world, hosting and sharing information with unlimited capacity. Driven by storage innovation, let's explore the future of new digital models, momentum, and business forms, and usher in a better economic society for all. Let's unleash the full potential of data and shape the future of industries. Starting from the binary number 1, we have created billions of bits of data that is powering the world. Coding has opened up a whole new world. In the large AI model era, a sea of data is shaping and fueling industries and redefining our roles in the world. Intelligent programming goes beyond traditional coding. It unleashes creativity and breaks down complex problems into simple code. The boundary between the physical and virtual worlds is becoming increasingly blurred. The ability to capture the finest of details in stunning ultra-high definition is revolutionizing the film and television industry. The genetic code has been converted into data, and we can use it as both a sword and a shield against disease. China's 7-minute genome sequencing process marks the start of a new chapter in medical treatments. Data is the cornerstone of the large AI model era. The next-gen AI beings in this era will help us adapt to changes in a wider range of scenarios. Data determines how successful AI will be. Huawei Storage takes a data-centric approach and is working to help reshape industries.
因雨量达到警戒值，高43动拐次下升线，广州至上。
您刚才疼痛的部位在哪里？你用手指给我看一下。
这个位置。
你把手放到仪器上，我们会把对应的数据监测传给刀的尼口。
Elettrocardiogramma che tiene un'arritmia leve.
"老先生，您要记得定时复诊。
Recorded information is essentially the story of civilization. At every turn, new storage methods have led to new human progress. From using the natural world to processed materials, humans have recorded, stored, and passed on information through increasingly accessible ways. As the transmission of information is advancing rapidly, we aim to create the new media paradigm to make infinite storage a reality. From complex storage to concise solutions, storing ever-changing data is as easy as zeros and ones. From diverse storage to converged solutions, next-gen media is driving the optimal solution for every situation. From transformative storage to disruptive solutions, trillions of bytes can be processed in a flash. Cutting-edge technology helps us keep pace in our digital world, hosting and sharing information with unlimited capacity. Driven by storage innovation, let's explore the future of new digital models, momentum, and business forms, and usher in a better economic society for all. Let's unleash the full potential of data and shape the future of industries. Starting from the binary number 1, we have created billions of bits of data that is powering the world. Coding has opened up a whole new world. In the large AI model era, a sea of data is shaping and fueling industries and redefining our roles in the world. Intelligent programming goes beyond traditional coding. It unleashes creativity and breaks down complex problems into simple code. The boundary between the physical and virtual worlds is becoming increasingly blurred. The ability to capture the finest of details in stunning ultra-high definition is revolutionizing the film and television industry. The genetic code has been converted into data, and we can use it as both a sword and a shield against disease. China's 7-minute genome sequencing process marks the start of a new chapter in medical treatments. Data is the cornerstone of the large AI model era. The next-gen AI beings in this era will help us adapt to changes in a wider range of scenarios. Data determines how successful AI will be. Huawei Storage takes a data-centric approach and is working to help reshape industries.
Who are you?
I am a helper, combining the wisdom of a million programmers.
I am a trainer, enabling robots to navigate complex environments with ease.
I am a healer, lifting patient care to new heights with next-gen cures.
I am a transformer, wielding the power to reinvigorate animation.
I am AI. New data fabric, paradigm, and resilience. These present big opportunities to hand as data awakens. I am data that's everywhere. Yet it must be properly harnessed for AI to fulfill its potential. Data awakening is surely a paradigm shift already reshaping industry far and wide. And while data must be accessible, it must also be free to flow and be safeguarded, wherever it is and in whatever form it takes. So, be the catalyst for data infrastructure innovation. Seize the opportunity to thrive in the age of AI.
Meine Damen und Herren, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to Huawei's Innovative Data Innovation Forum 2024. Last year, IDI was a great success in Munich, but I think it's great to be back in the capital of Germany. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Berlin. My name is Sebastian Smit, and I'm working for Huawei in the Netherlands as Enterprise Sales Director. But for many years, I was sitting at the audience as a partner of Huawei. And it's really my honor to be here on stage as your host for today. Over the past year, I think it's already longer, we've seen a change. What does data mean for us? What is data going to change? In the past, everybody was speaking about servers and those kinds of things, and now data is the only thing we can speak about. How does large models stimulating today's data and innovation and development? We're going to share that today with our ideas with you. And we think that the explosion of data, what we see, will become more and more and more. With the awakening of data, I think we're only getting a glimpse of what will be ahead for us in the coming years. From Huawei, but not only Huawei, also our partners, our elite partners, who are going to present for you today on stage. We're going to tell our ideas, what will come, how we see the future with AI. And also, our president of the storage product line, we're going to tell you, what are we looking for? What are we going to do? What will be our new projects? And also, and then I have to read my text over here. We will introduce an AI-ready infrastructure and many new products. And I'm really curious because I already seen Peter for lots of time on stage. And when he's presenting, I think everybody of you will absolutely enjoy it. But I think for now, to start this great event, IDI 2024, there is not a better person to give you the welcome speech from Huawei. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask on stage our European President for Enterprise Business Group. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a warm welcome, Mr. Willy Sang.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So, welcome to the Huawei IDI Forum. So, on behalf of Huawei, I would like to really extend a warm welcome to all of you here today. And I thank you for your ongoing support. We are rapidly entering the intelligent world. Data is experiencing explosive growth, and the intelligent technologies are developing fast. Every day, we are seeing more and more cloud-based modules and applications. AI is getting more and more popular. So in the fourth industrial revolution, actually data is seeing explosive growth, placing higher requirements on data infrastructure. How to build AI-ready data infrastructure has become a common concern across the industry. However, every challenge we face is also an opportunity. So intelligence will open up new opportunities for Europe over the next decade. To keep up with this trend, Huawei has proposed the all-intelligence strategy. It is our goal to help global customers and partners unlock the full potential of intelligence through ICT. So together with so many friends in Europe, we believe that we can be better support the digital and intelligent transformation of industries. So first of all, Huawei will continue offering innovative products and solutions to help industries unlock the potential of the digital economy. So far, our data storage products has served more than 25,000 customers in over 150 countries or regions. As for the enterprise core business scenarios, our storage, actually Ocean Store, Dorado all-flash storage, offers high performance and high reliability. So this product already has helped a top bank in Europe improve their performance more than 163%. Yeah. So we are also doing our best to support Europe's green transition. For example, we have products to address massive amounts of unstructured data. So our Ocean Store Pacific scale-out storage has the highest flash capacity density in the industry. It has helped one of our top education customers in Europe reduce the power consumption by 20%. Actually, these figures is already close to the lowest possible limit for storage power consumption. So meeting the customer's need for 1 watt per terabyte. At this forum, we will share our latest industry insights, as well as our new product and product portfolio solutions. Yeah, we will also invite our customers who will share their industry experience. Together with so many customers and partners, we do believe that we will create a brighter future for the data storage industry. So welcome again, and I wish this forum will be a success. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Willy. For more than over 15 years, Huawei is working with industries leaders, but also advisors from many different organizations. But with IDC, we are already working for a long time. Our next speaker, and I've seen already for many times on stage, and it's always a pleasure to listen to him because his English is really amazing, but of course logical because he's coming from the UK. Mr. Andrew Boss will going to share with you about sometimes think we are forgetting that we still need places to store our equipment. The modern data centers. How do we look to the data centers for tomorrow and beyond? Energy is getting more and more an issue. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Mr. Andrew Boss.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here in Berlin. Today, I'm going to take you on a bit of a whirlwind tour through a lot of our research into advanced uses of digital infrastructure and how to win in the intelligent era. There is a lot of data and slides today we're going to go through quickly, so we will distribute these slides to you, so no need to photograph them as we go through. But the first of really 5 big megatrends I'd like to talk about today is the need to adapt to the digital shift. And by the digital shift, really what we're talking about is the move away from the traditional economy to goods and services that are either enhanced by digital overlays or increasingly now new digital native goods and services. And this is impacting each and every industry at different speeds, but it's happening to every industry. So if you think it's not happening in yours, it is coming and it will catch you unawares if you're not moving forward quickly. And this means that digital transformation is moving out of its traditional role of the back office, making things a bit more efficient within the organization, to becoming the harbinger of customer experience, to actually becoming the business model itself. And a digital business model is agile and flexible and able to change as the markets change rapidly. And a great example of this, for example, is what happened at the start of the pandemic. Uber had established itself by disrupting the ride, hail, and share service. It was a taxi company, effectively. But within a few months, it had transformed to become a fast food delivery company. A very different model, a very different engagement cycle, but really the power of a digital, agile platform, and something we should all really be working towards. And in my research, a lot of what I focus on is what is the difference between what a digital leader does, the top 25% most digitally transformed companies, compared to the middle 50% or the final 30% who view IT as a cost to be cut. And increasingly, those digital leaders say, our back-end systems, our digital infrastructure, gives us a competitive advantage. It differentiates us. It enables us to be successful. And the outcome of all of this is successful businesses. We see that the digital leaders invest more in their IT infrastructure. They also are doing it in a different way. They're often bringing in outside partners to build it and run it together with them, and often using cloud-like ways to pay, flexible consumption models where you don't actually have to pay CapEx for your servers or storage or networking. You essentially pay for the capacity you use, and it's provided by the service provider. But these things coming together really do generate business success. We see that those digital leaders are the ones that are growing their revenues because they are agile, but also because they are innovative. The whole ability to launch new digital apps and services allows them to tackle new markets or capture more of existing markets because they provide that better, more engaging digital experience. And this leads us to a number of priorities for what do we have to think about when it comes to our digital backends. And when we look at the overall market, improving security and compliance is often top of the list. That's a no-brainer because without good security and integrity of our data, we cannot have a digital economy. If we look at the market overall, there's a big focus on improving agility and flexibility, and this is key for being able to roll out new digital services. But if we look at what digital leaders think, and these are the companies that rely most on their digital infrastructure, it's very much about enhancing their business resilience, keeping things going, whether it's in the face of a spike in demand, whether it's in the face of a cyber attack, or whether there's a natural disaster that takes systems offline. But keeping systems up and running is absolutely critical in this intelligent era. But I've highlighted particularly in red here as well, because this is a particular problem over time. Improving agility and flexibility, absolutely critical for every business. And we'll be touching on a little bit later, a lot of this is caused by the lack of transformation in how we approach building and running our IT systems. So we really have to think in new ways about building and running IT to be fit for this intelligent era. We have to work towards a modern, highly automated cloud-native IT infrastructure, but also we have to invest more heavily over time. And that means being able to make the business case and show a value out the back end of why that heightened investment in IT is so critical. And this means we're going to be changing how we do things with the help of automation and AI. So the second real mega trend we're talking about today is thinking about the fundamentals of building and running a modern IT infrastructure. The hyperscalers do this day in and day out. They can run entire data centers of many thousands of servers with just one or two administrators. Automation is really not about cutting cost. It does that as a byproduct, but the real value of automation and the automation projects that I've worked with and seen succeed focus on quality, predictability, scalability, resilience, and speed. And out of all of that also comes much better efficiency, whereas all of the automation projects that I've seen start with really just cutting costs have resulted in an IT department that fails over time. It becomes smaller, it becomes less relevant, whereas those that focus on the other attributes, they actually grow in importance within the business. And strategically, it is the critical area to develop. But who is automating? It's really the digital leaders, that top 25%. The middle 50%, the digital mainstream, are on an automation journey. They've started, there's pockets of automation, but it's not joined up end to end. There's very little dynamic workload management or real integration and orchestration. And so we can see a real gap that needs bridging for most organizations to be able to be successful in this new digital economy. So we have to really automate heavily. Every project that you do should have an automation goal in mind. And automation is about people, first and foremost. Everyone has to be comfortable with what the benefits of automation are bringing. It should not be a threat to their roles or their careers. It should be something that they can get more skilled in and deliver more value within a business. It's also critical to work with experienced partners who've done many automation projects and knows what works and what doesn't, so that the outcome can be much more guaranteed and be de-risked as well. So it's absolutely critical to have an automated infrastructure. The third mega trend that we're going to be covering today is really looking at security and resilience, because these are at the foundation of a trusted digital platform. And we're seeing more and more that because we're so reliant on data, that when we don't have access to our data, things really do fall apart, and it can take an entire business offline for weeks or months. And many businesses that experience this fail to return to their former glories. We're seeing a heightened activity in ransomware. There is a lot of data that used to be that there would be extortion to decrypt your data. Now it's exfiltration and selling your data, but also modifying your data in place so that you cannot detect that it has been changed, and therefore it's incorrect, and you have to pay to get the correct data back as well. The problem is when companies are often hit by a ransomware attack, when it comes to going to the backups and trying to recover the business, that recovery often fails. This is an absolutely critical point, that backups have to be reliable when it comes to restore. And a lot of the companies I talk to are not doing a fire drill rehearsal at least once a year where they try to recover a minimum viable business from scratch with no other systems. And it's particularly difficult. I've talked to finance, and finance go, well, we can't do this. We've got too many external partners who feed us data. We can't actually do a from-scratch practice. So they don't even know if they have a failure, if they can come back up again. And then we've, of course, got to think about, well, where does our data actually live? The public cloud has grown in popularity and importance over the last number of years, but it's far from being the only solution. But our data has to live in our on-premises environments, into co-location, into the public cloud, for example. And talking of public cloud, it's very popular. Most companies I talk to use it, but very few companies I speak to are closing their data centers and moving to the public cloud. In fact, only around 10% companies in total are public cloud first. Around a third are quite balanced. If they will look at the application or the services needs, they'll look at what the business needs and then make a decision. But over half of companies that I talk to regularly are either on-premises only or prefer to deploy apps and services to their on-premises environment first and foremost. So we have to improve this on-premises environment to be much more like the public cloud so that it's relevant, agile, and scalable and secure going forwards. And this is a big challenge given this lack of automation integration going forwards. But the keys here is we need to protect our data wherever it's located across the hybrid cloud from natural or cyber threats, but most companies are woefully underprepared for this. And massive recommendation here, make sure at least once a year, if not more frequently, you are test driving a full disaster recovery plan to ensure that should the worst happen, you can get up and running reliably. The fourth major point that we're going to cover today is AI-ready infrastructure. You've already heard it touched on a lot. It has very critically become top of the C-suite's interest levels. We're seeing massive amounts of investment. If any of you have followed NVIDIA's trajectory over the last year, its revenue has essentially kept on doubling and doubling and doubling. It is now a huge business since ChatGPT really broke the Gen AI news in late 2022. The AI investment is real. It's having a massive impact on infrastructure. We're seeing it impact the types of data that we're using. So we have traditionally business information has been very dense and very valuable. It's been very information-centric, but we're now moving to media. We're moving to language and speech and video and media and sound, and all of these have huge data content, but very little information content from a business perspective. But all of this is useful when it feeds into AI and delivers other types of value to the business. So as we move off of our structured databases and into AI-driven systems, our demands on storage are going to go through the roof. We're going to have huge amounts of need for multi-hundred gigabit or even terabit per second networking. We're going to have millions of IOPS, very low latency, very high reliability. But we're also going to have to store huge amounts of capacity as well. So we're going to have to balance these competing elements across our storage infrastructure. And we're going to have more data retained for longer. We're going to generate more data. And we are going to have to make sure it's available to the AI models over time. This means we're changing the types of systems we're deploying. So we're moving away from very structured systems towards unstructured, scalable data storage. That's particularly suited for very distributed IoT-type environments around disaggregated infrastructure, and really where IT and intelligence is everywhere, where we're gathering information from sensors, people, systems, and then using AI to help us make sense and recommendations and generate additional value. And to really get to grips with an AI-ready infrastructure, you need AI in the infrastructure. These systems are getting really a lot more complex than they have been in the past. They're also changing faster than any of us could have imagined 5 years ago. So to get to grips with it, we really need systems that help our automation. So we need intelligent automation and optimization to really make this achievable. We need analytics and decision support to change how we deploy and use our storage, and we need automated execution, keeping people out the loop as much as we can, while still allowing reviews, highlight exceptions, and make sure that the storage team or the infrastructure team can really review how the automation is performing over time. And bring in, wherever you can as well, infrastructure that's already been built. So can you make use of any cloud-type analytics or others to avoid having to stand up your own and fund it internally as well? But again, in this new age, Gen AI is going to put unheard of demands on your infrastructure. And to cope with this, we really do need AI ops to deliver at the speed that business needs. And our final megatrend today, really, and one that impacts all of us and our children, is thinking about the planet and the environment and having as low an impact on it over time as we possibly can. In Ireland alone, data center consumption has really rocketed. We've seen it almost triple as a share of power consumption within the island, from about 5% in 2015, and by 2021 it was 14%. And in fact, in Dublin, there's now a moratorium on new data center builds because of the power consumption of data centers. There's just not enough energy to supply that, together with the other industrial or commercial and residential demands as well. Sustainability is also top of mind, very much so for the digital leaders. These are the companies that are most automated and have huge observability into what their applications are doing and how much power and emissions they're producing. But over time, we've seen it move into the mainstream. And increasingly also, even in the digital followers, we're seeing ESG and efficiency become a top-of-mind priority over time. But efficiency is not a sunk cost. It's not a waste of investment. If you treat it right and use it to transform your systems and bring in observability and automation, it is really there to enable a lot more innovation and agility and improved profitability and revenue growth. So treat any sustainability journey you're on as a transformation opportunity, because any transformed IT is orders of magnitude more efficient than the type of data centers I typically see, which are running infrastructure that is 5 years or more old. And companies have no idea what its performance is like and what its power consumption is like, because it's not observable. This often means we're running a lot of server workloads at double the power consumption that it could be running on a modern machine. And we often run 100% of our servers at 5 to 10% utilization, rather than our most modern 20% at 80+ utilization. So that's the goal we have to move towards. We really have to start thinking holistically about how we build and run and operate our IT infrastructure, starting from the center with modern and efficient hardware. We need automation to make sure that only the most modern and efficient hardware is used wherever possible. We need to change our data centers with liquid cooling and very high power delivery for the modern AI systems that are running 65 kilowatt or more per rack. And we also have to think about the power supplies, particularly the decarbonized power supplies that are going to be absolutely critical to cutting down the carbon emissions. So moving more to nuclear, wind, solar, etc., rather than relying on coal, oil, and gas. So our infrastructure is often used way beyond its intended lifespan. Efficiency improvements are driven by better automation, and we have to prepare for a new generation of infrastructure that is not your grandfather's data center. So with that, I'd really like to thank you for your attention today, and I'll hand back to Sebastian. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Andrew Buss, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure to listen to you. We speak later. Quite interesting, don't you think? I think now it's become time for us as Huawei. How do we look to the future of data and AI? Our next speaker is going to give a speech entitled Redefining Data Storage in a Data Awakening Era. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my absolute honor to introduce you our president of the storage product line, Mr. Peter Joe.
Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here to share Huawei's view on what kind of data infrastructure we have to do, particularly when generative AI comes. We all know data storage is keep evolving. When we have a database and a virtualization, we start to have DAS and also SAN storage. When we needed to share the files through the internet, and then we start to have NAS, that kind of storage. And when big data becomes very important, and also we needed to do a lot of high-performance data analysis job, for example, HPC, and also gene analysis, these kind of application. And then we start to develop unstructured data storage. And these unstructured data storage can support big amount of data, and also more data paradigm. For example, Objective, Hadoop can all be supported. And now, generative AI comes. Generative AI, the application, is very much different from what we have in the before. We need a big amount of data with different paradigm to support these kind of algorithms run with efficiency. And also, it's big cluster. Energy consumption becomes very more important. And also, the efficiency of the GPU and the problem recovery, all of these issues really brings difference from previous application. And then we think it's the right time to define the new generation of data storage. Generative AI, the big problem it has is efficiency. Today, most of the data center of GPU, the efficiency and also the utility of the GPU is less than 50%. That means most of the time of so expensive GPU, they are waiting. They are waiting for feeding the data. They are waiting for recovering the problems. So the efficiency, the utility of the GPU is really the key factor to design the data infrastructure. Because of the efficiency, and then energy becomes a problem. Today, in some of the countries, we lack of silicon, basically GPU. And tomorrow, we definitely believe we lack of energy, and then lack of data. 50% of the data center energy will be used for GPU. In 2026, we can foresee the energy used for those data center somehow equivalent to the total energy consumed in Japan. Today, if we use ChatGPT to understand 1,000 characters, it needs to spend a lot of energy, somehow equivalent to 1,000 family energy used for 1 year. So the efficiency is really the key facts for the generative AI data center. And data storage must support to keep improving the energy consumption and the utility of the GPU. So it's the right time to define next generation data storage to fulfill this mission. As you know, the traditional data storage has 3 dimensions: performance, reliability, and also data paradigm. For next generation data storage, we still need to keep these dimensions, but with much stronger performance. Ultra performance, 10 times performance, PB level bandwidth, 100 million, that kind of level of IOPS is needed. And then data resilience, not just the reliability. We also need ransomware, that kind of prevention algorithm and capability be embedded. And very important, new data paradigm needed to be supported to support generative AI. For example, vector, for example, tensor. Furthermore, we also need 3 more new dimensions. The first one is data fabric. Today, in one company, data is everywhere, but the CEO doesn't know where is the data asset, how to use it. The metadata within the data storage can help us to organize well on all of these data assets, to make CEO understand where is the data asset, how to use it. On the other hand, scalability. We need very good scalability for scale out, therefore to support EB level capacity expansion. And very important, we also need scale up that kind of capability by adding DPU or GPU or CPU adapter into the data storage, and then to facilitate closed data storage, that kind of computation. This is very important for future utility. Today, a lot of data moving between the computer and also the storage. A lot of energy, some people say 60% of the energy was wasted by those data mobility. And the last, sustainability, which is very important. We need a green technology to save the energy. Therefore, we need 1 terabyte really have less than 1 watt, that kind of power consumption, lower. And also, per unit, the density need to support more than 1 petabyte. So that kind of performance is what we needed. Therefore, to define new generation data storage, we need 6-dimension capability. How to do that? We have answer. Let's have a video. This is our new generation data storage, OceanStor A800, which is AI ready and also with ultra performance, 500 gigabytes bandwidth, 4 times than what we have in this world right now. And also, the IOPS will reach 24 mega. And it's 8 times what we have today. And also the scalability is really strong. 512, that kind of engine can be connected. In one engine, we can have 16 DPU or GPU, that kind of adapter. Therefore, for one big cluster, we can have 4,096 adapter be adding for scale up, that kind of capability. On the other hand, green technology. One unit can support more than 1 PB, that kind of density. And also, 1 terabyte only consuming 0.7 watt, that kind of energy, which is the lowest in the world. And support new data paradigm, for example, vector, and for example, tensor, etc., to really support the generative AI to have very efficient algorithm for learning. On the other hand, data resilience. The anti-ransomware, that kind of detector, is embedded with 99.99% that kind of accuracy. And furthermore, data fabric, that kind of capability is supported. Working together with DME can help our engineer to understand where is the data, how to organize them for generative AI. If we use OceanStor A800, the utility of the AI cluster can really be increased more than 30%. We could use less time for preparing the data and also less time for recording the checkpoint and problem recovery. By doing so, together with very high resilience for security, particularly anti-ransomware, that kind of functionality be supported. So it's really the powerful product for generative AI. For AI-ready data infrastructure, as we said, green, energy consumption, these kind of factor is really important. To overcome that kind of problem, media innovation is really the key and essential. Today, in my hand, this kind of size of disk, just the normal size, as we defined in U.2 standard. You know, how much capacity it support? 128 terabytes, which is the highest density today we have. By using stacking technology in the chipset, we can reach this. By doing so, the space in the data center can be really saved by more than 80%. And also, the energy per PB also can be saved more than 90%, which is amazing. How our engineer realized this kind of product? Let's have a video. Same size, 10 times of the capacity, which will help our storage product to reach energy efficiency. Of course, to prepare for AI, actually needed to be data ready at first. Right now, the difficulty for us, for example, like Huawei, it's a big company, yes, but we have data everywhere. Our CEO and the CIO don't know where is the data and how can we organize it as a material for generative AI. And then today, we bring a software embedded in DME, data management engine, which is Omni Dataverse. This software also supported by the metadata and also functions in the storage, Ocean Store A800. By this software, it can help our engineer to understand where is the data, even they are located in different regions. And also, we could very easily to help our engineer to organize those data as a material for generative AI. And certainly, data lake is a good solution for generative AI as data infrastructure architecture. Omni Dataverse can really help us to easily build up data lake. We suggest the high-performance data storage, doing tiering with capacity, that kind of type of storage. And then with support of Omni Dataverse, that kind of software, the whole data within that kind of lake, even they are located in different regions, can be well organized. How it works? Let's have a video. Right. Today in Berlin, on behalf of Huawei, I announced AI-ready data infrastructure. Particularly, we definitely believe a new definition for next-generation data storage is really needed. 6-dimension capability needed for the product. And also, we need a more innovative technology to develop new media for the storage with really high density, remember? And also, new data fabric, that kind of technology, and also software tooling system is needed to help us to build up AI-ready data infrastructure. Of course, no need to wait until generative AI comes to our database. Data has to be ready ahead of AI. Therefore, today, when you start to build data center, remember, try to use AI-ready technology, that kind of infrastructure, to make sure these kind of technology is ready. Therefore, no wasting of time and also investment for the future when generative AI, these kind of algorithms, really embedded into your data center. Today, in first level, we have demonstration area. Please take the time to have a look. All of these products and also technologies are detailed there. Please enjoy your time today. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next speaker has already experience in this industry for 35 years. That's quite a long time. So we think he's an absolute expert. As scientific director of the German Research Center for Artificial Intelligence. He's going to share with you his vision about how data and machine learning will proceed in the coming years. Please welcome on stage Mr. Hans Oeskereit.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues from various areas of IT, my topic will be the latest advances in AI and how they will progress in the future. And the starting point is, of course, these powerful new AI models that the whole world is talking about and trying to utilize now. And is it really a completely new hype? Because we have talked about AI hype for 5 years, 10 years, or even longer. And actually, if we look a little closer at all these hypes, there are different waves of an AI hype that we should keep apart. And I want to point it out in the beginning and show what's different with the latest wave. So, you know, it all started already in the late 90s when chess, in the game of chess, the world champion was beat by AI. And then Google Translate came, Apple Siri, IBM Watson, big hype, lots of things that changed the world. After the statistical and symbolic systems, neural AI became very big. Neural systems, it started with things like Face++ in China, the face recognition, Amazon's Alexa, but then also Tesla's cars or DeepMind's AlphaGo, all these things. And AlphaGo was a big change for Asia because, you know, when AI beats the chess champion, the Asians don't think this is a big deal, because chess is so simple. But after Go, the Go world champion was beaten by AI, then they believed in it. And then the latest wave is now the generative AI, the large language models and others. It all started with a Transformer paper, 2017, of a Google group. And then now lots of other systems were built. Most people realized with GPT-3, others maybe later with GPT-4, that there was something very big coming. So what's different? First of all, these systems, that's why they are called generative AI, they cannot just give answers or put out, maybe translate a sentence or categorize, but they can produce big texts, big images, entire computer programs, complex molecules, videos, and other things. So we call these models also foundation models because there is a second thing this is makes them completely different from all the AI before. And it is that these large language models, they learn from huge volumes of unlabeled data, they label them themselves, and they are trained with a very simple task, only to complete incomplete texts, to make sure that you fill in either words or you continue. Some systems do one, some the others. And by doing that correctly, they are forced to learn language, syntax, semantics, knowledge, even certain forms of reasoning. So as a result now, these systems seem to understand. Because they understand and they don't understand. They understand in the sense that if you ask them now to do something they have never been trained for, they do it. For instance, abbreviate this text for a 10-year-old. They will do it. They were never trained for that. So that they can do, they understand in that sense, but they don't understand. They don't have a world model like us, and the world model is not updated, but what they learn, because actually they forget everything again. They have no memory unless you give it to them. So the data volume is just immense for pre-training these systems. So the GPT-4 system, for instance, GPT-4, it has, later I will tell you more what a parameter is, it has eight neural networks of 220 billion parameters each. And it is trained on about 10 trillion words, which would be 20 billion pages, equivalent to 100 million books. But actually not too many books are in there. Why? Books are expensive and hard to get. And OpenAI never spent the money to buy 1 million books. Of course not. It would be too expensive and too difficult to digitize them and feed them in. So in fact, it is mainly web content, and the books that are in there, surprisingly, are not even the best books. They are usually fiction. Lots of fiction in there, not so many other books, not so much non-fiction. And now what's different? So how does the system understand? It needs to bring together things in a text that are not next to each other, because language processing, it's very easy. If you say, switch on light, that's easy. That we could do before. But to understand the whole text, all the relationships in there, the semantic, there was a method added, which we call self-attention. It has nothing to do with the psychological attention, not really. It was invented by this Google group, and what it is a possibility to learn if you put in not a text piece by piece, as you did with earlier neural networks, but you put in the whole text as once, and it learns by completing the text all the relationships, because it checks for the entire text and learns what are all the semantic important relationships. It's a very, very compute-intensive and storage-intensive way of learning. And to go back, and about GPT-3 had about 96 of these self-attention layers, 96, but each of them with billion of neurons. So these basic models, they are mainly language models, but you know there are also image models and models for proteins like AlphaFold, and music and program code. But then the most interesting are the cross-modal models that combine images and language, program code and language. So why is there always language in there? It's pretty easy to answer, because otherwise we wouldn't know what it means. We want to give a command and say produce an image or a video on something, or we want to know if images are done. We want to know the story, what's in the image. Yeah? So language is the way that these models connect to human intelligence. Is that now a hype, a good hype, or is it a hype that will go away soon and leave people disappointed, like some of the other hypes that we had? So this is the famous Gartner hype cycle. The idea, everything has a big hype, then it goes into a valley of disillusionment, and then it slowly climbs up to a plateau of productivity. And where are these, our systems? They are there, at the very top. So Gartner would predict, bad luck, next type of years, it will first go down to a valley of disillusionment. But is it really true? Yes and no. I will show you why. GPT, like ChatGPT, is at the same time the most advanced AI research system that we have out of the lab, not a product line, out of the lab. But it's at the same time the most powerful AI product that was ever built. And it already fulfilled so many tasks. It's already automating. Lots of jobs are changed, others disappear already. So part of the answer is for some of the jobs, for instance, creating text, market plans, images, it already is. There's no disillusionment. It's already doing it. But people are expecting a little too much. They are expecting to have the system employed as product solver, problem solver, solving very difficult problems, let's say in planning, production planning, product planning. And I will come back in a moment, there are still some open problems. They have to be solved. It's not yet a full problem solver, so there will be disillusionment, but there's help along the way. So the strength of the system is the language proficiency. It's not good in one language. It can write in the style of Baroque literature, of poetry. It can do everything. It can do many, many languages, but not all languages, especially not smaller European languages very well. It is very good in conceptual knowledge. It has learned lots of concepts. It knows about it. It is good, but not very good in factual knowledge. It doesn't know the latest stuff because it's been trained a while ago. It can do a little bit of procedural knowledge, but not branching procedures, not very complex procedures. It can do one-step inferences, but not inferences that people need to do like planning tasks, where they need to have results in between. I will show in a moment how people can solve that, but right now they cannot do it. So, but there are three important developments for the next steps of this type of AI, which I want to point out. One is machine teaching versus machine learning. The second one is on combining the large language models, LLMs, with agency and memory, and then the extension to different types of data that Andrew has already alluded to. So the paradigm of machine teaching, let me explain it in very simple terms. GPT-2, GPT-3, GPT-4, and the Llama model, and all the other models, the Baidu Ernie model, they're all based on the same architecture, on very, very similar algorithms. So machine learning, the task is to find algorithms and architectures that, given a set of data, solves the machine learning problem. But now the algorithms stay the same. What makes the big difference? It's the data. It's the data and the way you feed them. It's the way you teach, you educate the system. And this is really a big, big step. And I will point out why in some ways in a moment, yeah? Because that is important for the next level of AI. Here in blue and green, so the bars here are aptitude tests, tests that people in American universities have to take for different tasks and if they want to be placed in courses. Green is what is the areas in which GPT-4 is improved as opposed to the blue lines. And 100% almost nobody gets in tests, yeah? But so this is their knowledge. So this is, but the same algorithm. So this is all machine teaching. So we need now systems that get much, much better in education. We need to find now, and this is exactly what makes OpenAI different from the other guys, but now the other guys are following. The Meta and Google, they were for a long time too much concentrated on new algorithms. They published more and more algorithms, they tried different architectures, and the people at OpenAI, they just dumped in more data from scraped from the web and increased the parameters. Yeah? So, but now it has to be done not just by more data, but by better data. That's the only way, for instance, to getting rid of hallucination. The systems have been trained on so much fiction, and they are forced to make something up because they don't have enough secure knowledge. Have you ever seen a system make up a 13th month of the year or an 8th day of the week? No, because that's pretty clear. So it gets into hallucination if it has not lots of statistically secured knowledge. And the use in industries will depend on how much the systems are trained to the knowledge of the industry, and this is still lacking. It's easier in certain types of medicine, for instance, because there have been lots of medical data, and it's pretty good in computer science because there was the archive and lots of pre-publication servers dumped in millions and millions of papers from natural sciences and from computer science as well. But when it comes to certain parts of engineering, chemical engineering, even machining engineering, lots of areas in industry, it's lagging behind. So the next step will be you start from a generic foundation model, you train, then you continue the pre-training for vertical models for certain areas, and then you do the fine-tuning to the specific problems within the companies with proprietary data. Before it's public data, but then the proprietary, and then you get models that are custom-tailored for certain enterprises. And then, in order to solve this problem of the missing several-step inferencing, you need to equip now the system with the possibility to be called several times. And there are so-called agent systems. AutoGPT is one, but there's now, you will see in the next years, a lot of these systems entering the market. They have the business logic, the process logic. They work with an LLM, but the beauty is you don't have to put now all your data in the LLM because the LLM is an associative memory. It's not good for a huge database of billions of or millions of data entries. You rather keep your database, you keep your knowledge graph, you keep your apps, and maybe you have specialized LLMs. But an agent system can connect these now. This will be the future, very different types of data systems, not everything in one and the same model. And then another big change will be this learning from additional kind of data that was already mentioned by Andrew, not just from music, sounds, images, entire videos, entire films with the scripts and with the audio descriptions. This is all data that can make our systems learn about the world much more than it can learn from texts alone. This will be, again, on data, so I will finish with this. For the first time, we can now turn huge volumes of data into knowledge and skills, and so the size of data will even increase. Models will decrease first, but then more types of data come in, it will increase again. So general behavior and additional skills can be trained with much smaller sets of annotated data, but it's just the beginning. And the urgently needed specialization needs additional pre-training data, but also training data for behavior training, process data of companies, that the model can partially find out by themselves, partially need to be trained. And a huge additional need of large data arises through the large number of future applications and new types of data. So this will increase, will explode again. And the bottleneck is not the algorithms. There will be more powerful algorithms. There will be new architectures. But even with the ones that we have, we could do 100 times more if we had a better machine teaching, and many, many companies, many parts of AI will concentrate on that, squeeze out even more of the current architectures, while our colleagues in the lab are already working on next generation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Uzkuray, thank you for your masterclass. It was really a pleasure. So our next speaker started by studying economics. Afterwards, working for 12 years as a journalist. Now traveling around the world as futurist and author. He's going to share with us his story about disruptive technologies, behavioral change, and next generation leaderships. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to give him a warm welcome, Mr. Stephen Hutfors.
Thank you, Sebastian. It's interesting when you start to think about how to present a person. What would make an audience excited about listening to a speaker? What do you think would be the most interesting person to be up here? A president, a celebrity, someone like Elon Musk or something. I tell you what would be the most interesting person to have as a keynote speaker on a stage. Imagine if the program told you that now we will have a random guy from the year 2050 up on stage. Would you be interested in listening to anybody from the year 2050? I guess you would. I guess in the end everybody would. Why? Why would everybody be so interested in listening to just a random person? We don't know anything about his or her background or education or anything. We just know the fact that somehow someone managed to fix time travel, and here this person is from the year 2050. Of course that's interesting. We will listen to that person because that person have knowledge. Knowledge that we don't have. No one in this room have any idea of what will happen the coming 25 years, of course. We are very bad at predictions, you know that. Predictions are like sausage. Everybody loves them until they know what they're made of. I read a story a couple of weeks back, a story about two Canadian men, Richard and Eddie. They were both born on the same day in 1955. Somehow, in that nursing home, they were mixed up. So they went home with the wrong families. And they lived the entire life up until today, almost at the age of 70. For 7 decades, they lived the wrong life. The life that was supposed to be for someone else. a life full of joy and sorrow and, you know, all the things in a life. Richard was of Polish-Ukrainian descent, so he learned that he had relatives in Europe. Eddie was, his mother was from an Indian tribe, so he was even bullied all throughout school for being an Indian. Even though it turned out now that he never was an Indian. Of course, he didn't know, and his friends didn't know either. So it got me thinking that it's so interesting to think about what is it that we don't know? Because obviously today, we in here in this room have so many questions that we still don't have any answers to. I'm going to start by doing a little warm-up exercise here. Let's see if this one works. Can you start the first slide for me? Go to the numbers. We will do a memory exercise, or a memory competition, if you will. I want you to study the numbers I'm showing on the screen. Study them carefully, and then try to remember the right order. And eventually we will go to black, and we will see who in the room have the best memory, okay? No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that, of course. But I have a friend of mine. He actually does this. That's one of his key things in life. He is the Swedish memory champion 3 times. His name is Mattias Ribbing. If you Google his name, you will find out that he's even a grand master of memory. There is a group of people in the world who have they have the title a grand master of memory. To become one of them, to become a grand master of memory, you have to pass 3 tests. And one of these tests is the numbers test. So you study numbers for a while, and then you put them aside, and then you're supposed to write down as many as possible, of course in the right order. And to be one of the grand masters, you have to make at least 1,000. It's kind of impressive, isn't it? This is not my slide, this is Mattias' slide. This is actually his right answer in that company. It's not 1,000 numbers, it's 1,060. So I guess he wanted to show off maybe, you know, I knew more than 1,000 or something. I was very impressed when I talked to Mattias about this. I guess you are impressed too. I mean, if you're like me, you have a hard time remembering a phone number or a PIN code or something like that. This is not what we are best at. But then after a while, you know, when you start thinking, I started thinking and I said to Mattias, cool. And no offense, but what's the value of this? I mean, honestly, if you could tell me that you could teach me how to remember 1,000 numbers, I'm not even sure I would want to. Because if this is today's problem, who can remember all these numbers? You can all solve that problem, can't you? I see some of you are taking pictures right now. There you have it. You have them. Now you can tell us all the numbers, because we all have these in our pockets. And then talking about these phones and hard drives and everything. You know, in this piece of hardware here, I have 512 gigabytes. I don't know, what did Peter just show us? 128 terabytes in his pocket? We can fit hundreds of millions of grandmasters of memory in a suit like this. So my point, and the start of this here, because I can see on some of your faces that what is he talking about? You know, my point here is that in the age of computers, obviously we will see a decreasing value of memory. Because when we talk about knowledge, when I went to school, and still in many school systems, knowledge is quite often associated to memory. How much of what you read, hear, see, can you remember? Because that's the way we try out to find out how much knowledge you have. And of course, this here is extremely hard for human beings. We are not very good at processing or storing data. That's not our best skill. Let's be honest about that. You have to be a grandmaster to manage 1,000 numbers. And today, Andrew just told us about, what was that? In 3 years' time, the global computer hemisphere will be full of 291 zettabytes of data. Does anybody know how much a zettabyte is? I had to Google it. It's a billion trillion bytes. And then 291, that means, yeah. Okay, this of course is extremely simple to a computer, 1,000 numbers, it's nothing. So let's do another one. Who in the room can tell the difference between a muffin and a dog? I don't know you, but I dare say that everybody in the room can do this one. And that's why you're laughing, because this is ridiculous. These kind of pictures, we see them on Reddit forums, online, you know. These are funny because it's so silly. It's so silly, it's so easy. The point is here, you don't even need to think to answer this one. You just know it. But think again, think about the computer. Think about the last slide I showed you. Think about all the numbers to a computer. How would this one look to a computer? Same as the last one. Just numbers, huh? That's what a computer sees. So here we have pictures, and pictures are pixels. And in this case, every pixel will represent a number, just to make us understand. So it's easy for us to understand that it would probably be tricky to explain the rules for the computer to understand this. What's the difference between light brown, dark brown, white, some black dots, versus light brown, dark brown, some black dots? It's hard. Now the Huawei team showed me, actually they showed me the Mate 60 AI assistant, the phone. I guess that's the grandmaster among phones, because the phone managed this one. So the phone managed to pick out all the chihuahuas and some of the blueberry muffins. Not all, but more importantly, the phone today didn't have any wrong answers at all. So, but again, the point is, we are beyond grandmaster. We don't even have to think to solve a problem like this. So why is that? Because the last slide is so hard for us, and this one is ridiculously easy. Well, that's because of how we learn. What would you say if I ask you a question? How do people learn? Do we learn the same way, or do we learn different ways? Who is up for different ways? People learn different ways. Who would say we learn the same way? Some of you. Yeah, we actually do. We learn the same way. I thought different ways too. But Matthias told me that, no, there is one way for everybody to learn. It's superior to anything else. It's through experience. That's how we learn. We learn things through experience. And that's why you want experience when you are trying to get new people on your team. That's how we learn. So that's why also we are not like computers. Sometimes we even get better with age, because we have more experience. Computers, on the other hand, we don't want old computers, do we? So there we have it. The start here, just to set things straight. Machines learn from data, and we learn from experience. This here is a quote, just to make you think about the last 3 decades. 3 decades ago, Jim Barksdale was the CEO of Netscape, and he said something like this to his team of managers. If we have data, let's look at it. But if all we have are opinions, then let's go with mine. And I guess that's fair, because honestly, if we don't know, if we don't have any information access, data isn't here, we still have to make a decision. And that decision will be based on a gut feeling, an opinion. And of course it's going to be the CEO. The CEO have this responsibility, so the CEO will have the last call. But the point is, now we have data. We just heard about it. We're entering a world where we are sort of swimming in zettabytes of data. And then, of course, we can no longer afford to make decisions based on gut feelings, opinions. So we're moving from an era with a lack of data to an era where we can no longer rely on experience. And it's quite interesting when we start to think about this era of digital transformation that we heard so many interesting points on today. I mean, in just a couple of decades, we went from mainframe computers, a very few, like a handful of them in the whole world, a full room of computing power. Mainframes to desktop, to laptop, to mobile, to wearable. Today, I'm wearing a computer. Many of you are. We're all having computers. Computers are everywhere today, of course, because of exponential growth in processing power, Moore's law and all of that. After wearables probably comes invincibles. So technology is just with us somehow. We start, for example, we start talking to technology. And then I think it's fair to assume when we're moving here, we have to realize what happens. Well, the revolution to me is more about access. The digital transformation is a revolution of access. Today, everybody have access to computers. And remember, computers can help us with all that stuff that we are not very good at. So with this computer here on my arm, I start to depend on it now. I can get answers to my questions. How do I get the flight ticket to Berlin? How do I find a nice restaurant when I'm here in Berlin? How was my sleep quality last night? I get all this, so I start to depend on it. I can't manage without it anymore. And the interesting thing is, we depend on it so much, so we don't even think about, where is my data? Who is storing my data? You heard that data is the new oil. But that means, obviously, that data is money. But you still don't have time to think about it because we depend on it, don't we? When you buy a watch or a phone or something, who in the audience read the manual anytime when you buy a new device? No, we don't do that. What do? It takes like 30 seconds. You do something before it starts working. What do? You say yes, don't you? To a lot of questions. There are questions like, is it okay for me to monitor your sex life, your alcohol consumption, and everything? It's like, yes. So now it works. It works. I can see my pulse and how many steps I took and stuff like that. So we depend on this, and we don't think too much of where is my data. We talk about the cloud and cloud applications. Remember about the cloud, what they say. The cloud is just someone else's computer. Next up, I think, with wearable technologies, with invincible technologies, when we start talking to computers, wearing computers, we will go from large language models, the hot topic of today, to large action models. Because computers will start to register when we take action. What will make me act? It's so much more interesting to start predicting actions rather than just reading language, isn't it? And thereby we are entering an era of knowledge and discovery, a journey of data awakening. So to me, I think it's quite obvious what AI is about. Right now, we went from big computers to small computers to wearable computers to connected wearable computers, and everybody have them. But of course that meant that we have a lot of data. But who in the room can handle all this data? Well, we can't. We can't even process 1,000 numbers, a lot less terabytes or zettabytes. And that's where AI comes in. With AI, finally, someone can help us make sense of all the data. So we will get understanding. So with AI, we will not just have access to connected devices, but we will have access to understanding. Someone knows me, someone understands me better even than I understand myself. How does that sound? And then I think the era of just endless scrolling and asking questions is over, because then we will get so much more new knowledge out there in this vast ocean of unknowns. Isn't this scary? Yes, of course it's scary. To set out on a journey of discovery was always scary. It's always been scary. But remember this, if you only remember one thing from this session, remember this as your superpower. Not exactly the fact that you can tell the difference between a chihuahua and a blueberry muffin, but the fact that you are human. You are a human being. That means that you learn from experience. Computers don't do that. They're not conscious. They don't have experiences like that. And with AI, everyone will eventually have access to knowledge that until now, no one had. So again, imagine that future. What will your grandchildren think of you? In a world where everyone have access to knowledge that until now didn't exist, I truly believe that our grandchildren will look back at us and think something like this. Remember grandma, grandpa? poor guys, they didn't know shit. I hope you get some new thoughts, and I wish you a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steven. And you really scared me. Because I'm not sure I will ever buy a muffin again. Because you go home with such ugly dog. But that's my personal opinion. All right, from the north, we go to the south. From Sweden to Portugal. Our next speaker, Mario Magalhães Saraiva. He's the IT Delivery Operational Senior Director of Fidelidad. And he's going to share with you how an insurance company is doing his innovation in Portugal. But not only in Portugal. Fidelidad is an organization who's operating in more than 13 countries in Europe and abroad. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Mario.
Well, good morning all, and thank you for having me here today. So I'll talk about something that usually it's not very exciting, insurance. But I want to share with you how we're leading digital innovation in insurance sector in Portugal and in the geographies we operate. So we just started talking about the future. I'm going to start a little bit about the past of Fidelidad. So Fidelidad's origins root back to 1808 with a company called Bonanza. And as you imagine, doing insurance business by that time was pretty much system of records based on books and record keeping that were managed manually. As time goes by, the organization also evolved. We went through a series of mergers between 2000 and 2013, becoming the largest insurance group in Portugal. And in 2014, if some of you recall, there was at that period a small crisis in finance around Europe, and Portugal was also affected by it. And in this year, the Chinese group Fosun entered as a stakeholder in the company, owning 85% of the company today. This was very important for us because this partnership with Fosun and the smaller shareholder now, CGD, allowed us to start a transformation that affected not only our business in Portugal, but also the international perspective we have on our business around the world. We are market leaders in Portugal. We have 30% of the market share in life and non-life. As a group, we have around 5.1 billion in written premiums, where as of today, 30% of these premiums are coming from our international operations. And why I'm going into the international operations? Because we are really present in many latitudes of the globe. We have a traditional presence in Europe as well as Africa due to the roots of the Portuguese relationship with these countries as Mozambique, Angola and Cape Verde. We also have a presence in China Republic in Macau, and we made a very big investment recently to go to Latin America. And what is impressive on this evolution of the group is that looking from a technology perspective, we perceive how technology pushes us forward to adopt new solutions, to bring new services to our customers. But when we have this perspective across the globe, we understand that different people have different needs and they need to be addressed in different ways. And for us as a group, this is a big challenge and makes us think on what is our strategy moving forward. How are we going to transform our digital services and how are we going to deliver these digital services across these geographies? So this is where innovation comes in. And basically we see innovation like also the industry does. We come from a traditional service model. As we have already felt, I think in most of the businesses, we are moving towards personalization. We have ecology concerns. We want to be energy efficient. We want to be considered green and social responsible to our customers. But we know that going forward, when we look at generative AI, when we look at what the prediction models and the technology allows us to do today, We know we are going very, very fast towards risk prevention, towards predictive algorithms that allow us to assess risk, probabilities, and optimize the efficiency of our services toward the consumer. And this is where the consumer, feeling this level of personalization, they feel better served and finally brings the relationship between us and the consumer as a loyal relationship. So we are investing heavily on bringing new digital experiences. We invested in multiple applications that we're delivering today to our consumers to teach them how to bring these new experiences into their daily lives. And we are also bringing these experiences to our own internal processes. And today, I'm going to show you a small video about one of these applications in the field of digital inspection. Let's see the short video, please.
Mas agora, graças à nossa nova aplicação, o processo é muito mais rápido e ágil. Com ela, basta que os clientes, os mediadores ou os parceiros fotografem o veículo segundo as indicações e submetam as fotos. A utilização de modelos de inteligência artificial com base em Convolutional Neural Networks simplifica a experiência aos utilizadores. Na app, os modelos de Image Classification garantem que as vistorias são feitas da forma correta, auxiliando os enquadramentos da viatura, confirmando que o carro fica totalmente enquadrado na imagem e que a iluminação é favorável. Caso estas condições não se verifiquem, os modelos fornecem um feedback imediato ao utilizador, para que este possa corrigir as imagens. Já no back-office, modelos de Object Detection e Image Segmentation analisam as fotografias e não só avaliam se existem danos na viatura, como fazem a leitura automática da matrícula e do selo de inspeção. Desta forma, torna-se possível e automático analisar os processos de vistoria, aceitar ou rejeitar novas subscrições ou coberturas e até identificar eventuais situações de fraude. Fidelidade, para que a vida não pare.
So what we saw here was an example of how we are using artificial intelligence to be able to understand damages to cars. So we can have instant estimations of what is the type of damage, what is the cost to repair, and provide instant feedback to the client to say, look, we're going to find you a repair shop and fix the car, or it's not worth it, we're going to pay you in another way and compensate you in another way. And we're broadening these kind of models into all the processes of our organization, with a particular focus on claims management. We are introducing, with very high levels as of today, automatic document digitalization, for example, to process your health expenses that you send to insurance company without having to fill lengthy forms. And this increases the satisfaction of the consumer because at the end of the day, he will get compensated really, really fast. And this experience is going across all of the lines of the business that we have. And as you see, our goal here is to increase the percentages of the automatic processing we have in the different lines of business, going from health to property, to vehicle damage and others. Finally, an important aspect for us is speed. As we saw in the opening note about the evolution of Huawei solutions, if we look at the indicators in technology, we're always looking to be faster. And the challenge we have here is that in insurance, we also feel that the data is growing exponential. So we need more storage, we need more processing capability, and we need to provide these services to our systems, to our applications that run in the mobile phones that we all have. And this is a very big challenge that we have today. But we have the opportunity, as we look at what is important for our business, to do these investments. And at Fidelidade, for the past 2 to 3 years, we have been investing millions of euros on all the portfolio and the solutions that compose this architecture to bring this experience to the consumers. And what is very satisfying is that when we talk to consumers daily, the feedback that they get is that, look, my claim process is managed faster. Look, my experience is good. And this is the final result of all of this infrastructure we are building. So data, and I think this has already been said here, has become a pillar of the strategy of the organizations. And here you can see what are the strategic priorities for Fidelidad as a group. So it's not very different from other organizations. We want to propel growth. We want to improve our profitability, looking at operational efficiency and transforming our businesses. We want to put the customers at the center, but to do that, we need to have the organization mobilized. And here we have people. We need to have people that know how to work with these technologies, going from the physical infrastructure, the infrastructure that manages the data, the servers, the GPU processing and all of that, until the people that manage how the service is delivered and how the experience is provided to the consumer. On top of that, we need to be agile. So the old ways of working don't work today. So if we find a problem, we cannot wait 6 months to a year to do an IT project to fix it. And this is why Fidelidad has done a transformation, also in the past 3 years, to become an agile organization. Today, more than 60% of our projects are done in agile mode, and we have the capability to change the priorities of our delivery of projects in a couple of months, and so adapt quickly to what the market needs. Finally, and this is the base, I would say, for everything, we need to have information, and we have to have data, and we have to have analytics, so that we can guide our strategy with our people within this agility framework to do what is most important to do at the moment for the consumer. And when we look at data, and Fidelidad coming back from 1808, if we ask how much data would you like to do analysis, the answer usually is all. So we need to have a framework. We need to understand how to source data, how to catalog data, how to ensure that the data has the proper quality to be manipulated and not create problems on the analytical models or on the machine learning models. And we have to have security in place. And all of this comes into an operating model that we're building around the organization that allows us to build this kind of applications and solutions. However, we cannot forget that to enable this infrastructure, we come from a very complex model. So many insurance companies around the world have a lot of legacy systems and a lot of complex infrastructures. At Fidelidad, we operate with these 5 data centers. So we have 2 data centers focused on the traditional mainframe and the AS400 systems. Then we have data centers focused on distributed systems. And when we look at this complexity, the governance of all of this infrastructure, until you're able to provide services and processes, is very complex. And we look at data in these data centers as key assets to be managed. And this is why one of the components that we invested heavily in the recent years was around the way the communication and the sharing of data is done between our data centers. Because we want to create our own cloud abstraction of how data is managed in the different systems of Fidelidad. And either a data scientist is looking for information that resides on a mainframe, or information that resides on AS400, or on e-commerce platform, or on our SAP. We want to provide quick access to data, a strong level of performance and reliability to this information. And this is why we adopted Ocean Store solution. And this is why we were able to bring data acceleration into our infrastructure, but together with data resilience and something everybody wants today, an improved cost per terabyte for managing all of this infrastructure. And this allows Fidelidad to have a strong feeling of trust that it can continue to evolve and transform the digital services, because we have a sound infrastructure below. So this investment allowed us in the past 2 years to improve the performance around 2 times, improve significantly our reliability, and it has allowed us to streamline more and more services and systems in the organization. So into the future, we're looking at increasing the automation of processes, as we've seen before, but also to bring new digital experiences to consumers. And we are already doing that, launching new services and applications that allow consumers, for example, to track their health habits so that we can guide them to have a healthy lifestyle by walking more or exercising more. Applications that explain to our consumers how can they drive better and give them scores and reward them for good behavior. So we're looking at all of this as a perspective that we want to build this kind of digital experiences to our consumers, and we want to be innovative, and we want to have a trustworthy relationship with our consumers, where they will see Fidelidade as an insurance company that is there not only when you have a problem, but that is there taking care of you, either in your health, either managing your property, or managing other aspects in your life. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mario.
Thank you, Sebastian.
Pleasure to listen to you. And as you already heard in the story from our director, Peter, that we, as Huawei, can support you for many years with our new storage line. So please keep growing with your data. We absolutely don't mind. I think, do we have a lot of Germans here still in the audience? It should be, we're here in Berlin. Okay, then I think the next speaker will make you proud. But also a request to you, we only have 2 speakers left for this morning keynote. So if I could have your attention from then, I really would appreciate it. Our next speaker is from the Otto Group, and Otto Group IT, if I pronounce it correctly. He's going to share with you his vision, how you make use of workloads off and on-premise. How you make use of the best of, within his vision, the best of both worlds. And I'm really curious to his story. Ladies and gentlemen, the senior architect of Otto Group IT, Werner Peters.
Hello everyone here in Berlin to the IDI 24. I'm working in the Otto Group IT. Maybe in Germany, Otto is a subject everybody knows, but all over Europe we have subsidiaries, and I might show you a little bit about what we have around the world, meaning that we have probably 20 companies, significant companies here, and all over the world we have about 120, meaning employees we should have about 42,000, and we have different businesses, like maybe some of you know EOS, which is a financial part, the shops itself, and we have a lot of companies caring about special brands like Manufaktum, which is handmade stuff, but there are dozens of other ones as well. So, our goals. We normally care about the growth, yes, of course, like every sailor, and profitability, financial network, frameworking stuff, investments. But the owner of the company, Dr. Michael Otto, has one special one that is corporate responsibility. And he takes that one very serious. So now a little bit to what is our strategy. Our strategy is a cloud strategy, but we still have a lot of on-prem. So we're trying to get all our applications cloud native, trying to get container services, public cloud services, and spreading the data across the worlds on-prem and in the clouds. But that is a problem because we need new types of applications. Applications which are able to run on any cloud. There is the picture, as you might have seen, is one of the AI-generated pictures, and we try to focus on them. So we write that one has generated. You might see the small sentence in at the bottom. So in the end, we have a try to have a smooth transformation to the cloud. For that part, when the data is exceeding like a special period of the time, like Black Friday, everybody knows, or if the Christmas business comes. So we get a little bit of a flexibility. Yeah, and still we have a lot of legacy applications like everybody on-prem. So there is something called OGGPT. The problem we had is everybody's talking about ChatGPT, but what happens if we put company data into that official model? Company data is then accessible by everybody. And that's not a good thing, what we want to do. But we need to have access to the benefits of ChatGPT. So we are trying, or we tried, to create an own chatbot, like OGGPT. The advantage is that we have the model, which is a large language model anyway, and we keep the trained data on site, on-prem. So we have both worlds, and we try to connect them. And we did it in a very fast way. So we started in September 23, and it was 8-10 weeks later, we had already a chatbot, or OGGPT, in place. We added features, a lot of features. And that's what now happens. We implemented it in Hamburg, in our holding, and now we are spreading it to our subsidiaries. Nearly every subsidiary we have already asked for a version of that one. And that's what is now accelerating. What do we have else? We found out it might be good because everybody uses Teams in our company, and it's a very good tool, everybody connects it. So we invented something called Kodi. Kodi is a chatbot that is integrated in Teams and helps us on the daily business. Because we have on our campus in Hamburg, we have a so-called flexible desk system. Nobody of us has got a fixed desk, so we have to book desks in advance. So every morning I come into your office, what seat did I book? So Kodi is integrated in Teams, and as soon as I go into the campus, it connects to our SAP system, looks up, this is Werner. He has booked in building number the seat 62. That's one of the things. It gives me some notice about events on the campus. We have about 5,000 people on the campus, so this is quite a big one. And it helps us to ask or to answer questions we have about our own internal stuff. Like we have a lot of conference pages, we have a lot of manuals. And it all stays with us, so nobody else outside has the possibility to access what we have. And well, then we thought, there are a lot of things everybody has in the daily business, like, my keyboard is broken. Okay, I need another keyboard. Why do I have to pick up a phone? I chat, Kodi, I need a new keyboard. And so the order is fulfilled. All that is only the beginning. So finally, we already found out it might be a good idea if somebody needs a system, a virtual machine. How can we support people with that one? So we reduced a real set of functional parameters. We reduced it to 4 questions. 4 small questions which we ask in the chatbot Teams. Then we started, and 10 minutes later, the person has got his machine. Access to it, wonderful. What's coming next? We want to have a GPT integration, for a Locker integration, and for especially the SAP integration. There's a lot of potential inside. So, which challenges appear by doing that? There's a continuous change. The frequency of the changes becomes higher and higher, and the time to implement it is less every time. And because of that, we need automation, more automation. And automation needs an API, which finally ends up in something like infrastructure as a code. Especially if we refer to the public cloud stuff, so then we put all these things together, the on-prem and the off-prem. And the problem is when we have a lot of vendors on site in our data center, we need a lot of resources to care about the different vendors, the different strategies, so less focusing is possible. And last but not least, the problem of young talents is a real issue. Anyway, how do we solve that one? One was we consolidated all our storage systems on one vendor, on Dorado systems. Very competitive. We reduced the heights and we compacted it. The deduplication worked fine. The encryption works fine. So everything stable, which gives us time for other issues, like caring about APIs, caring about automation. So in the end, it was easy to handle, and the API was very powerful. So with the customer-centric approach, we even had the chance to get features we liked into the system very easily, and the feature requests have been handled very transparently and very fast. That's something which we didn't experience with the other vendors till yet. And we had some challenges on-prem by moving a lot of things around because the business couldn't afford downtimes. It had to happen all the time online. So the support team helped us to design a solution and do the right sizing so we get on with all that stuff without any outage of the business. So where do we go? As I already said, our target is the interaction with all two worlds, and that's why I came with that two worlds. We have the on-site systems, on-prem systems, and we have the multiple clouds. The transparent way of handling storage between both worlds is a very interesting part. Kubernetes and the Docker containerization is a big part in that area as well. And already somebody said something about security features on ransomware. Ransomware is becoming a real issue because if you all have all these systems, they're continuously attacked. So we have to be aware of ransomware and we have to protect us against all these things. And what is helping us or might help us is if we use AI and train AI for infrastructure management issues, which happen all the time. And so, in the end, the AI is one of the things which becomes interesting in that area as well. Saying all that, the problem is if you put all these features and all these functions into a storage system, the access time needs to be still very quick. And the more data comes, the more important access times becomes. And everywhere is said capacity is increasing and all these kind of things. Because of, in our case, we are having a lot of logs coming up because we want to know what the customers with our system do. It's a very big amount of data which comes. So, thanks. And we came, as we said already, we came with it because of the technology, and the service was the impressive stuff, so we stayed because of the service. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Werner.
I hope I could made a little bit time up.
Yeah, I think you did. And thank you, Otto Group, for being such great customer of Huawei. So thank you for your story.
Sebastian.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Most of the time they say save the best for last, and I think we also did today. Our next speaker is quite interesting, if I must say. Devoted for the environmental protection in Croatia, and professor of the University of Osijek. She's going to tell us more about what she is doing for the safeguarding and biodiversity across the whole country of Croatia. Ladies and gentlemen, our last speaker, Miss Ivana Majic.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure. I would like to tell you more how we are protecting endangered and protected species of wild fauna and flora in Croatia using the artificial intelligence. So, actually today, what we have heard for many times is digital transformation. Maybe you haven't heard so many times green transition, but also we are following this European innovation agenda at university and also following the societal transition agenda. So in this work and in our project, actually we are conducting different researchers, and the project site for today's presentation is located in Kopački Rit, which is Croatia's nature park at the eastern part of Croatia, bordering Hungary and Serbia, and actually it's a large floodplain. Its appearance and overall biodiversity actually depends on the intensity of the flooding of the Danube River. Of course, in our project, we are devoted to different goals. So for start, we are monitoring biodiversity. But what we are actually wondering about and what we are trying to do is to predict the stability of the ecosystem in Kopački Rit. And how we are doing that in this project and in this work, actually we are using acoustic species identification algorithms to develop convolutional neural networks to help us recognize different sounds and different soundscapes and identify protected and endangered species. I also find very, very important the involvement of citizens in our work. So we have also devoted a special part of our project to citizen science. So what we are doing actually including the broader community in our project and trying actually to teach them, educate them, and they are in return actually gathering also very valuable data for us and for our analysis. In our project, we have been devoted to develop at least 50 different models to identify endangered and protected species. However, you can see here that we have been devoted to flagship species of Kopački Rit. Why they are important? Well, actually, they are the indicators. They are the indicators. They are telling us whether our system is healthy or not. Here is just a glimpse into Kopački Rit and our work. And what I wanted to share with you is how the biologists actually monitor biodiversity. So usually we use diverse set of methods. Sorry, we will just go back for one slide. So we use diverse set of methods, and usually we are observing, noting, counting, spending numerous hours in statistical analysis, in photographing, and so on. Also challenging obstacles that we have to face in our research is difficult terrain. Even here, you can see that we have the minefields still, and we have also noticed that by our involvement and the presence in the Kopački Rit, we are imbalancing the ecosystems. So we are deciding to use non-invasive methods, more accurate methods, which will also allow us to gather comprehensive data, but also ensure affordable, rapid, and safe biomonitoring. So how do we listen to animals in our park? As you can see here, there is a map of Kopački Rit with strategically deployed passive acoustic monitoring devices. So we are placing these devices for 3 times per year in the whole area. And we have chosen strategically, again, 100 sites over on area over 100 kilometers square. Again, I have this slide for you just to show you also the practical aspect of using and deploying bioacoustic technology. And as you can see, it's again a difficult terrain for our researchers and biologists to reach remote areas. But we are really committed at this point to reach all that area in order to gather the most data and the broad spectrum of data from the Kopački Rit. We are using small-sized audio devices. Actually, they are credit card-sized. And we are placing them, as I said, on 100 spots in Kopački Rit. And we have set them to record 1 minute of audio clip every 5 minutes. And after 14 days of period of deployment these devices, we are getting around 288 records per device. So the next thing for us is very important, of course, to store the data. And we have partnered with Rainforest Connection, and we are uploading our data to a project server in Arbium platform, as you can see it here. So far, we are very satisfied with this platform. It is actually a cloud-based, it's open source, and it's actually providing us with a fine analytical tools that enables us to slice and cut data in countless variations, which could actually answer our research questions. So this was our first year of the project, and here you can see our preliminary analysis. So far, we have contributed to building a database. We have uploaded more than 28,000 hours to the database, and with 1/3 of that data was actually processed and analyzed by artificial intelligence. What's also very nice is here you can see the heat map. The heat map is actually probably sometimes in your life you played warm-cold game. So you can see here one protected species, and with these marked warm areas, these are the actually places and sites where usually this protected species is occurring. So as you can see, this data is very valuable, especially for conservation biologists and managers who bring and should make difficult decisions when mitigating high rates of species loss, often because of the climate change. So I'm also bringing you in this presentation sounds and also bringing you some pictures from our Mother Nature. So here you can hear the sounds from Kopački Rit, from 2 sites, from our devices. And what is amazing actually is within the same time frame, of course, we are getting a rich tapestry of different sounds, of the different calls different soundscapes of different animal species. This is very important for us. This is very important in order to bring as much accurate results and develop accurate models. So just to shortly explain you how we do the acoustic analysis, actually it involves different stages. So as we said, so we are uploading the data to our BIMOM platform. After that, we are extracting the data from the raw wave format. And then we are creating snapshots, as you can see here. Those are spectrograms. And now the real work starts, actually, and the AI is a master here. So we can spend a lifetime, not even one lifetime, but several lifetimes to analyze, to process thousands and thousands of hours of recordings. However, AI could help us in a flashlight, as somebody said earlier, or you can go and have a drink while the AI is working a job for you, actually labeling and identifying and categorizing different sounds of animals and identifying the species. So here I have prepared one spectrogram and also two species commonly known. I hope you will recognize the species of mammal and one bird in Kopački reed. And we have already developed the models, and this is what the model actually identified and showed us the presence and absence of the detections in whole Kopački reed. But what we actually want to do furthermore is from these soundscapes, from these recordings, we would like to know more about their emotional information behind these sounds, about the physiological information from the spectrograms, but also from the sounds, and also all other important information that could bring new results and new insights for ecologists to create management decisions to protect wild species. So you have seen now the vocal patterns of two animals, and according to the vocal patterns of animals, we are actually using the machine learning-based tools and teach machine learning to actually be capable to autonomously select different spectrograms and identify and classify the sounds from the large data set that we have collected. So far, we have to say that we are very satisfied with only few people. We invested a lot of time. You have seen the difficult terrain, but we have managed to develop only in 1 year 75 models, and we have identified 75 models with high accuracy. Among them, mostly are birds, and we have, as you can see here, 4 mammals and 4 amphibians. To summarize my talk, I would just like to say that we are very proud for this project. For the first time in Croatia, we have applied AI and this technology in biomonitoring in Croatia's Nature Park. Also, what is very important that the AI model that we have developed could be continuously used for the new subset of data in the same park, but also we are the part of the Danube parks in the UNESCO's biosphere. And of course, we would like to express our sincere thanks to Amazing Tech for All project and Huawei for support. And without this technology, without our commitment to environmental sustainability and your commitment, we wouldn't make a meaningful impact. I have this one slide because I want to also send an important message that scientists all over the world started to bring and to upload different data. But since 2000s, we have more and more high-quality sounds. We have gathered them, and consolidated them in one database, and it helps us actually to develop more accurate models, which will for sure prevent species loss, protect biodiversity, and also we have to prevent our natural heritage. Thank you all. Sebastian.
Professor Ivana Majic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was tough being the last speaker, but you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
Give her a warm hand. All right. The official keynotes are done. So I think that's for a lot of you positive. Then you can go to the toilet and have some food. That will be nice. But first of all, I want to thank our speakers for today. They're sitting, most of them sitting over there. Mr. Peter, Mr. Willy, thank you so much. Gentlemen, please. Without the support of our partners, without the support of you partners, without the support of you customers, we were not able to do events like this. And although the keynotes are finished, we're absolutely not finished for today. So now, at the first floor, there is a nice buffet you can use. And at 2 o'clock this afternoon, we will start with our breakout session, where Huawei staff, other partners are there to share their experience with you, how it is to work with Huawei, or how they use their technology, their own technology, to share with you to improve together. It will be really nice. Also, our colleagues from Europe, but also from China and abroad, are at the first floor with an exhibition center to share all our new technologies. So please have a look at that part. And then at 7 o'clock this evening, we have an amazing gala dinner arranged for you with live music, entertainment, to give you everything what you're worth for. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for now. Have an amazing lunch, and I will see you later.